Welcome to A VO's Journey. My name is Anthony Pica. This show is all about helping the new and upcoming voiceover artists grow their business and sidestep all of the crazy things that I seem to step on. Hey, we made it to Thursday. That's right, Thursday, April 23rd. If you can believe it, we are almost to May. And I hope you've had a fantastic month. It has been an amazing month at A VO's Journey, so we're very excited. And I use the term "we" as in the many me's. I don't know if you ever find yourself doing that. Do you ever find yourself just like saying, we'll help you out, when it's just us. It's just me. But we makes it sound like it's so much, bigger than what it is. Anyways, you know me, I crack myself up. I got to do something. I'm up here alone all day. Anyways, I hope you are having a wonderful Thursday. Today, on Thursdays, we have what we call ACX Thursdays. But I would like to dive more in today on some voice acting tips and something I like to call the tale of two voiceover stories. And I'm going to try to explain this to you in a manner in which I hope this helps you really up your way. I mean just as much about that by like narrating long form narration as opposed to short form narration. Okay, so I'm not talking about one or the other. I'm talking about all of it. And I'm talking about whether we're talking about books or commercials, whatever. I want to talk to you about the two stories that we tell. Now, if you watched any of my content, that I'm always talking about how we are telling two stories, really, when we do voiceover. Okay, and I want to explain this like we are telling two stories. Okay, the story up here on top is the story that the words are telling. Okay, and we are telling the story that the words are telling. Okay, and through the words and how we shape the words, whether the words have arcs in them, how we use different syllables. That's probably why us Americans really enjoy listening to British voice artists or Scottish or voice artists or people who speak who really use syllables throughout words to go up and down and inflection and stuff. And it's so dynamic to listen to. It's nice to the ears, right? Because variety is the spice of life. But there's the story up here, but then there's the story down here. And I want to talk about the story down here, the story underneath the story. And I think this is that part that we hear people all the time say, they've got that special something. It's really awesome to listen to them. I can't put my thumb on it. I don't know what it is that makes them really unique, but it's really incredible. Or I could just listen to them talk for hours, right? It's the story underneath the story. And I want to, kind of start it off by saying that we are selling whatever it is we're selling up here on top. But underneath, we are selling ourselves. And, not to sound so much like Tony Robbins, but we are selling ourselves. So that story underneath is so vital to our success as voiceover artists, okay? Because that story underneath is what makes it interesting to listen to me narrate as opposed to someone else, or someone else narrate the story as opposed to someone else. I do a lot of reviews for people's gigs, and I do ACX reviews and Fiverr reviews and things, and I listen to a lot of demos, and I review a lot of demos, and I do a lot of that stuff, okay? And, what I find is that there are amazing, amazing voice actors all over the place who really know how to speak and tell the story up here. But there are very few who have mastered telling the story about who they are. Because if you get really good at this, what you'll find is it is less and less the words up here and more so the story on the bottom. Because it's like, have you ever noticed somebody, maybe you're that person, but if you heard someone speak and you could put anything in front of them, it doesn't matter what it is. They could be selling dung beetles. I don't know where I came up with that, but they could be selling dung beetles and it would still be like, wow, I want to buy a dung beetle. They're just incredible. And it has nothing to do with actually the story up here. It has everything to do with the story beneath. It has everything to do with them and how they are telling it. So that's what I'm talking about, two stories. There's the story on top, again, that is the words. That is the story that we're telling the world from the words, the copy that we have. But then there's the confidence underneath. There's how we decide to tell it from our point of view underneath that changes the whole story. And that is why no one person sounds exactly like another person. Okay? Sure, you could say, well, it is the exact pitch and wavelengths of their voice and it is, and all this stuff. But see, that is the story underneath because we are the sum of all of our experiences, right? We are. We are no more, no less than the sum of all of our experiences. Right? Whether those were dreams, whether those were thoughts, whether all of the things that's happened to us in our lives, that's what we are. So as actors, as voice actors, okay, we bring all of that. A lot of times what we bring is our fear, our worry, our not very confident in ourselves, right? Our self-confidence, our low self-confidence. I call it the mile between here and the microphone, right? Some of you have heard me say that before. All right, it's the mile of crap between my mouth and the microphone. It's so much, like we bring all of that into our story. And what's another thing that's interesting too is where you are in your life matters as well. Meaning like where you are, how do you feel about what things are going right now? Because no matter what anyone tells you, I don't care. This is us. We are the ones speaking. So we are bringing everything that we have into these. And it might be silly to think about, well, Anthony, I just said EA Sports. That's it. I said 3 words. I get it. I get that there's some copy that's more dynamic than other copy. But even just saying that, the story you tell underneath about the confidence, how you say it, the way you say it matters. Not just what the words you're saying. And I find that the people that begin to understand that start to understand that when you insert words, okay, into me, see, this is the difference. It's not me inserting myself into it's not me reading words. It's me reading and I'm using the words to explain another part of me. Here's another example. See if I can wrap your mind around this. You ever watch movies, right, where there's evil villains, like really bad people who do really bad things? And of course, those are actors portraying somebody really bad. However, they're really good at it. And you wonder, well, golly, these people are really good at it, but we know it's not real. But here's the thing. No matter what they're supposed to do or the movie or the pretend is, there are pieces of those personalities, those intricate parts of their acting or the who they are that goes into what they're doing. So even though they're playing people that they would never murder someone or kill somebody, those characters they're creating, though, the personalities, that's who they are. That's a part of them. It is a part of them. You cannot create something that's not a part of you. I mean, if you do, it becomes a part of you, right? And it is part of the experiences, the thoughts that you've had up to that point. Okay? Sure, can we create new things? Yes. But those new things are created from the past things that we have. Anyways, the point of all this I'm trying to say is that if you feel as if you're struggling and you can't seem to find that money voice, as I've talked about in the past, that sweet spot or that thing that, people just are like, man, I love it. It's just, that's the voice. Then what you are struggling with is the story underneath. And that's why so many of us have a problem because we feel like we're trying to actually change the way we talk, like our narration, like the words, it's how we say the words. But see, that's the problem. It's not how we say the words. It's what we're saying from us while we're speaking. So logically, again, you know me, I like to say, well, what does all this mean? So for me, what this means is that the story underneath is how you shape what you as a person are trying to say to the world. Okay? Do you try to portray confidence because you're a confident person? Are you a hopeless romantic? Are you a person that believes in the best in people or the worst? Are you a very analytical person, right? Are you a person that, believes what they see? So much of what we do in acting, because guys, this is acting. This is acting. No matter what you read, this is acting. And in acting, it is about finding out who we are. There is no way around it. If you fake a lot of what you do, okay, what does that say about you? There's nothing wrong with that, so don't let your mind wander about what I'm saying. But what I mean by that is are you putting on a mask? Okay, when you read, do you step up to your mic and feel like you're a different person? Or do you step up to your mic and feel like you are putting on another part of you? Or something, or are you putting on something that feels completely foreign to you? A lot of times we feel like we're putting on things that are foreign to us and it feels awkward and we're always searching for something, right? So are you searching for something in your life? I know this might be like, oh, this is like a rabbit hole. And it kind of is. It kind of is. But do you remember when I talked about those puzzles, right? The puzzles of our life and putting those puzzles together? It's amazing what happens when you put all of your puzzle pieces and you work hard to getting your family, the piece of the puzzle that's your family, and the piece of your puzzle that's financial, and the piece of your puzzle that's your job, or hopefully your business that becomes full-time. All of these things that you put together can turn into a confident person. But maybe you're a really funny person. Like, you love to see the comedy in life. So what you do is when you read, there's this innate, comedy about who you are and how you speak. We see those comedians all the time, right? This is such a valuable piece to what we do and how we share our message to people. So to me, when I'm coaching, and I had a wonderful coaching session earlier today, and I get to coach voice actors every single day, which is a blessing because I love it. On top of all the crazy voiceover work that I do, but it is wonderful seeing how the two stories really tell in itself the story of who we are. Okay, so how can you tell this story up here and tell this story down here? Well, first we have to really understand, I think, what entails a story altogether, right? I mean, if we look at telling a story, which I like to call it the melody, all right? Underneath, I like to call it the melody. So the melody of the story, okay, oftentimes can be easily, like we could say easily that we start off at the beginning of a story down here. And we work our way up to the story, to the climax, and then we come back down here. That's very simple, right? It's very simple. But then as part of that story, it's also how you look at the story. So this is where I like to bring in tones, all right? So if we put some actual technical stuff to this, so maybe we can get some understanding. I like to put it tones. Are you an authority type of person, right? I mean, do you speak with confidence? Do you believe in what you're saying? And I'm not talking about just voice acting. I'm talking about in general. Are you a person that goes along, gets along? That's how you've always lived your life, and that's wonderful, okay? But that's a specific style of talking. Is there a constant questioning in your voice? Do you always question things? Do you get that inflection kind of tone? Like, is it up here, and do you end up at the end of your statements? There's always a question that you're searching for in life. What I'm asking you to do is be aware of how you talk. Be aware of the melody of your voice. What tone do you use? Are you a nurturing person? Are you a person that likes to be enticing, right? Are you a person that is sad? They're sad. I mean, are you sad when you speak? Is a person that is kind of tired when they speak? Is it a person that's really perky and upbeat when they speak? Do you know what I mean? Knowing this is the melody, because that's the melody of your story. And the words lay on top of that to be shaped around the melody. Okay? So first off, know your tone. And if you're trying to figure this out, the best thing to do, okay, and I've posted a lot of stuff about this, is to actually write down tones. Okay, and we have them. If you've purchased any of my courses, I always lay them out or whatever. But, there's so many tones. You can actually go on Google and type in, voice acting or tones, and things like that. And you'll come up with things like authoritative, like enticing, like nurturing, all these different ones that you'll come up with. And what these this is the melody of the overarching idea of words. And I find that most of us are not going into reads that way. We're not going into reads thinking about the underlying story we're telling. It's mainly just about the words. But see, it's not about the words. I know, this is crazy, right? It's like, oh my gosh, Anthony's gone crazy today. But it's not about just the words. Like, I do a lot of voiceovers, and a lot of people come to me, and I find that, to me, when I read something, there's something passionate, like if it's nurturing or something, or it's educational or something, there's some passion there that I have. So it's me explaining that passion through the words that they have. All right? Or if there's something there that's supposed to be funny, well, then there's my funny, goofy side that comes out. I'm going to be like, yeah, I'm going to just be my goofy, silly self. And then the words are a part of me telling the world how goofy I am. If the words are passionate, it's me telling the world how passionate I am. All right? And then how well do I express the passion that I have? The words are just there to help us express it from ourselves. That's why I say it's so important that you put pictures up. You put information about yourself up, because people unconsciously or intuitively are looking for this melody, this underlying story that each one of us tell. But they can't put their fingers on it. They just know it when they see it. Like when someone walks in the room and you're like, whoa, they just light up the room when they walk in. It's that underlying story of who we are. We can find it by first defining these tones and then finding that information within ourselves about what are we passionate about? So in acting, it's about finding something that you relate to. Okay, like for example, if you're playing a part, and I'm just using this as an overall idea, if you're playing a part where you have to go through something horrible that happened, okay, like maybe a parent dying, and you haven't had that happen yet in your life, how are you supposed to recreate that emotion? You've never experienced it. You've never lived through it. Well, that emotion can be broken down into actual feelings like anger, frustration, sadness. Well, we felt all of those things, right? We felt anger and frustration and sadness in our lives. So we can channel that, okay? We can channel those emotions, those feelings, and then insert the different narrative. That's what voice acting is about, okay? Inserting a narrative on top of what message we as people, as a singular person, is trying to tell the world, okay? We are inserting narrative onto ourselves. And a lot of people are confused about that. So my hope today is I didn't make it any more confusing. And if it's confusing, it's because I still haven't then figured out a good way to say it. But I'm definitely, I feel like I'm getting closer to being able to explain the tale of two stories that we tell, okay? The story on top, the narrative that the words tell, and the story underneath is the story that we tell as individuals, that no two people can tell the same way, okay? All right. Well, I hope this has been interesting, if nothing more than intriguing and thought provoking for you. If you have any questions, thoughts, or comments, I can see no one's like said anything. They're like, "What in the hell is this?" Emotional intelligence is key. Absolutely. Hopefully, this has helped you start thinking though about diving a little further into your narration, how to make it mean something. Okay, like how to really tell a story. Because it's always interesting because I say everything's a story. But then again, you listen to something and you're like, well, how is me selling Cheetos, telling them to go to the store and buy Cheetos a story? Right? How is that a story? That's where the underlying story is a part of it. Okay? Well, what does that make us feel like? I know it's Cheetos, but you got to move past that. Are we excited about it? Is it exciting to, have that kind of food? Is it exciting to enjoy that activity? Is there passion? Is there fun? Is it interesting? Is it a different way of thinking? All of these things we bring into it matter just as much or more so than the words themselves. All right. Okay. Any questions, thoughts, comments? Let's see over on Instagram. I want to welcome everybody. We got a lot of people watching. Thank you guys for sticking it out through my craziness. We got Arden. We got the voice of James. What's up? We've got Kurt. What's up, my man? We got microphone Rocky. We got the voice of James. 100% agree. Tonality, inflection, and what you bring as a narrator plays a huge part. Thank you, Ben. Absolutely. We've got Dan. What's up, Dan? We got agree. Voiceover is not just reading. It's 90% acting. Absolutely. Russell. What's up, my man? We got around. What's up? Microphone Rocky with emotional intelligence. Let's see. Milena, hello, how are you? You love this? Great. Totally made me think. And being new to this world, this is exactly what I needed. Awesome. Hope I said your name right. Apologize if I didn't. But thank you so much for those comments, you guys, over on Instagram. Let's see. We got Flyer here from YouTube. What's up? I know I keep calling you Flyer here, but I know it's Eric. Scott, what's up? Let's see. Happy Friday. Dane from Facebook. It's good to have you. Iato, what's up? Voiceover Angela. We've got Iato and Angela are saying hey to each other. I would love an acting show where maybe you show examples of something you gave, never been through. Of something you gave, never been through. You mean like something I did and I didn't, like I stopped and erased it or something? Is that what you mean? Or no one's ever seen or something? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Hey, Anthony, just waking up. Well, good for you. Well, I mean, I'm on the East Coast, so it's 1:20. So, good. I'm glad I said your name right. Let's see. What a speech to wake up to. Yeah. Sorry about that. Jim says, thank you for this food for thought. Very interesting topic. Thank you. Marcus, good afternoon, Anthony. I'm glad you used the word melody. As a trained musician, I find so many correlations. Music is everywhere. Are you playing the notes on the page or the music behind them? Absolutely. I love that. Thank you for bringing that up, Marcus. And a lot of times a good narration or good voiceover, it's connected. There is a melody. Right? There is a melody, because if you think about the words, right? If we look at it from the story up here and the story under here, okay, and as they're going, they meet. The words, right? The syllables have different movements, and then the melody itself is a continuous melody that goes on a little less of a pace, but it's more of a specific tone, a specific meaning, specific passion that we bring. Okay, so I love that. Thank you, Marcus. Iato, have never been through like the opening of to The Last of Us. Have never been through like the opening to Last of Us. I'm sorry, I don't know what that means. Sherry, it has been a day for thinking deeper. I agree with what you say, and that is why it is not easy to just start voiceover. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and again, it's the power of telling a story. Again, telling the story underneath the story. And the story underneath the story is us. We are the story underneath the story. And if you can figure out your story, how to tell it with any insertion of narrative, I mean, the sky's the limit for you. But most of us spend a lifetime trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? And all I can say is that I've been able to come a lot closer to figuring mine out more with the more of the puzzle pieces that I get to insert into my puzzle, meaning that it's like my puzzle of happiness, right? My puzzle of completeness. You know what I mean? Of my life. The more pieces I feel like are put in that are stable and are doing well, the more I feel that I can make decisions about who I am and where I've been and what I've come, where I come from and what I believe in. But until those pieces are really put into your puzzle, it's hard because there's questions all around. All right. Acting is a lot of, reflection about who you are. Let's see. I'm on the East 2. I work late now. I hear you. I meant an acting example to show what you channel to connect. Oh, okay. Sorry, fat fingers. That's okay. No. Okay, so this is a perfect example. So if I was to take two different, I don't even know, two different types of things. Well, let's just do something easy. And I've done this before. But if we use the words like I love you, right? We can say them in so many different ways. But yet the words themselves, okay, the context of the words themselves, I love you, that means something. But then the way we say them from my heart, from your heart, and so the way I say it from my heart, the way I say it from who I am and what I want to express as an individual tells a different story, right? So if I look at you and I say, I love you, right? That tells a story about who I am. But then I can also say, I love you. Oh, I love you. 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 Right? There's a different way I can tell that story. But then you can see how I'm feeling because in my mind, I'm trying to show love to you, even though I can't see you. But I'm trying to have you feel it from who I am. And from who I am, the words are then inserted. Just like I could say, I hate you. Okay? But it's weird, right? To say that, like, I hate you. Right? That's a weird way to say those words. They don't necessarily mix because I'm telling a story through who I am and what I'm trying to relate to you. And then the words that were inserted don't exactly mix. So the other piece of this, right, is that you got to make sure. And by the way, this is why some people sound very odd and you might actually sound odd when you narrate. Right? Because you're not mixing the right emotion from yourself with what the words are trying to say. Or you're trying to do, I see this all the time, you're doing way too much. You are exerting way too much emotion or feeling for what the words are trying to put out. Does that make sense? All right? So I hope just with the simple I love you, all right, there is passion that comes from those words, but at the same time, they also could be, if I was to say, like, if I was to channel, my anger, like if I was to be like, I love you, you know what I mean? It's kind of weird, and you go into it and you start to how well do you show that passion of who you are? You know what I mean? And those different pieces of you. Right? It's kind of scary to be able to show them to the world. And fortunately, as voice actors, we don't have to show them. Of course, I'm showing you my face and my facial expressions. By the way, if you ever wonder why people talk about using your body while you act and using your facial expressions, this is why. Because this is the story that you are trying to bring out of you using the narrative you've been given. Does that make sense, iAuto? I hope that helps. Same as how you compose your body during oh, look at that. I should have looked down, Eric. Right. The example standing up to do an authoritative voice read. Absolutely. Excellent. Thank you. I didn't see that. All right. Awesome. Well, I'm glad that, let's see if I saw all this. My music teacher told me once that playing music should be like a bird flying over the notes of the measures. It doesn't just fly in a straight line. There's ups and downs, not just on the note page. Right. Right. That's just like how, you know what? Here's another example. I did a competition one time when I was a director, a one-act competition. It's where you take small shows and like 30 minutes. And I didn't know this, but another school that we were going against had done the same show. Now, I didn't know. And they went before us. And, they did their show, and we went up there. And I'm telling you, it was like watching two completely different stories. Because I told that same story from my point of view. So the blocking, the costumes, the direction was night and day different. You wouldn't have known they were the same stories whatsoever. Like, they were so opposite because it was like there was no. Now, mind you, I'm me, so I always try, and this is what I'm trying to tell you. I insert a lot of me into everything. Because that if not, it's kind of miserable, I think, to live life. So I try to insert myself in everything. So it was completely night and day different than the other person. Okay. Now, if you've gone to see a play, some plays are different because there's very specific blocking that's written into scripts. But this script was open for interpretation. So, like most of our stuff, we kind of live in the same world. Somebody might write you a page and a half or direct you, and then there's very little room for necessarily interpretation, but they still want us to bring ourselves through the narrative they're giving us, as I talk about a lot, or they give us very little interpretation. So we have to run with who we are in the script. All right. So that was something that is another correlation, I think. So good call, B-Doggy45. Let's see, anything else? And then I think we're going to hit the road. You guys have been wonderful sticking around through this crazy talk. Let's see, same as how you compose your body during, well, I just read that. I never knew why people voice acting were always covered in sweat. Now I know. You use every muscle intently. Some people do. Some people don't. I don't know if the only reason I've ever been covered in sweat is because I was stuck in my booth for a long time and it was hot. The True Eye Auto, and also, that's True Eye Auto, and also I'm sure those booths are hot. That's funny. We're all on the same page. All right, you guys, thank you so much for listening. I appreciate your time. If you get a chance, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the notification button so you can get any videos that I publish or go live. If you're on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, please share this. I'd appreciate it. Give me a heart, a double tap. It's always a pleasure and an honor to work with you. By the way, this is Thursday, so tomorrow is Fiverr Friday. Also, if you're interested in signing up for Fiverr Elite, we would love to have you. This is a group we meet every Saturday, and we simply get together and try to help each other grow their businesses. We've got multiple top-rated sellers in our group, and we use stats. We do reviews of people's accounts. There's over like 60 hours now, like 50 or 60 hours of content posted on there that you have access to if you join. The link will be below, or you can go and check it out in a VO's Journey, vosjourney.com, avosjourney.com. But anyways, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. You have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Thursday, and I will see you tomorrow. And as always, my heart and prayers and thanks goes out to our frontline workers, and my prayers go out to all of you who have been touched by COVID-19. You guys have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.